au quotidien. C'est Châtel.
SonarFeed! Hello and welcome to SonarFeed episode 258. We like beer. We still like beer. We're down here at the Berliner Pub, 3rd and Main, downtown Renton.
Head of the curve.
Head of the curve. There are a few of us here today. It's raining. We're outside. We refuse to use the fireplace so we don't melt Adam Weigel's stuff.
That's actually SonarFeed
We're
stuff.
going to need to make that change, though, when it gets colder, because...
Like real colder or like
Colder.
California people colder?
Like,
This
maybe
is
by the
California
end of the
colder.
night, it will drop to 2 more degrees that I need the fireplace on.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
We're SonarFeed. If you're listening, you know that already. There are 5 of us here today.
What's a
we
sonar
outnumber
feed?
the audience this week.
It's like quarters.
That was the best possible thing you could have said there. Well done. Anyway, good evening. Do you want
Hi,
to
Tom.
introduce yourself?
Not now.
Yeah.
I think he'll wait.
That's Weigel. At Weigel on the Twitters. I'm Tom Biro,
We're already off the rails,
a.k.a.
apparently.
Bougie Hooli.
This is going well.
No. But there's beer.
Beer. I like beer. I still like beer.
Do you want to tell them who you are?
No. That is not me.
I forgot how to read before the show and started
It's good thing
drinking.
that's your job.
No, his job's not to read.
And right.
Anyway,
Anyways,
continue on.
yeah, Mark, whatever.
And to your left, everyone's right.
Mickey Turner ESQ on the Twitters.
And Dave's eating.
No, I'm good.
Hey, he's
Cool.
actually eating, though.
You know what that means?
You're not as
We don't
interesting.
have Mike Facito, not here tonight.
You guys are not as interesting as Mike Facito or Jessica Fishlock or
That
Steve
is-
Zakawani or
We 100%
Eddie Johnson
agree.
Harsh but fair.
Hercules Gomez,
Few people are.
the Gold Daddy, Roy Lassiter,
The Gold Daddy.
the no longer tied for the most goals in MLS history. I guess we'll have to get Joseph Martinez on soon.
Be a good get.
Also, speaking
Pay
of
for your own
goals,
flight, though, sir.
Wando is apparently 3 goals away
Who?
from the most goals in league history.
I didn't know he was still in the league.
Weird. San
Jose
Jose
didn't.
also still in the league. No one knew. It's weird.
Oh.
There's, by the way, for the past 3 weeks, there's been a coach fired every week.
So you're saying
Pete
there's
Carroll's next?
No, but Anthony Hudson might be.
But like, why even bother at this point?
Yeah.
It's like Vancouver. Just let it go. It doesn't matter.
Do we want to review what they did, by the way? They didn't just fire their coach. Remember when Siggy and the Sounders parted ways? And the whole staff stayed the same, and basically Schmetzer's like, I'm first assistant, so now I'm head coach. Vancouver went the other way. They basically burned the entire coaching staff down. They fired their head coach, their 2 assistant coaches, and their goalkeepers coach. Fired everybody and had the director of the academy take over. So that
Almost a remake of.
that is definitely different. A different technique than, say, what San Jose did, or heck, the 2 New York teams that lost coaches in midseason because they got promoted. You know, they found like competent people, and
Yeah.
Vancouver chose to not find he's not even an academy coach. He's the director of the academy.
Do you think that they'll get a throw-ins coach? Because that's my new favorite coach that I've seen teams have.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a former player that just wanted a job, basically. We need to find a
I-
job for you.
I believe it was Liverpool just hired a throw-ins coach. I'm like, what? How busy
It should
are
be Michael
you
Harris.
as the for real though? How much fun would that be? That was a good job with the lighting there. Yeah, it's like you're a
Thank
professional.
you. That was a good adjustment.
That is fair.
I
I
can see
did
now.
tell you that Dave was really white. That's actually pretty much what I said.
It hasn't changed.
And you're less white right now.
I just had a thought. Was our lead-in music UB40? That's a major miss.
Anyway, so we have a number of things we can talk about. We didn't have a show last week. We had some rough moments. Then not having a show.
There
then
is
the
a
Sounders
tweet
win.
for that.
There is a tweet. You want to read it?
So Hunch Punch writes in. So if you have this right, or if I have this right, last time there was a show, Seattle gives up 4 goals and loses 2 matches. Then show is canceled and Seattle scores 4 goals and wins. Coincidence? Maybe we should just cancel the show until December 9th.
Probably not a coincidence. So anyway,
Sorry.
we're here.
We're here.
Tough. So anyway, so we have some very positive things to speak about this evening. And that's just when we talk about the death and destruction that's going to be in Columbus once the crew leaves and go to Austin, because that's probably happening at this point. But more importantly, Sounders absolutely eviscerated the lovely players from
H.R. Panassis' favorite team?
Commerce City.
City of Dead.
That was a shellacking, to use a word that like my mom would use when my little league team lost like 9-0. Shellacking. You guys got shellacked today, and I had no idea what she was talking about.
You know how
Is
I
that
know
when you
you're from
played for
Jersey?
Rutgers?
It was not when I played for Rutgers. But for real though, like, I mean, there are a couple of little moments here and there, but when you see the quotes later and it's like, oh, we made a sub in the, what was that, the 15th minute?
17th.
17th minute, and that was intentional and it wasn't injury driven, I'll take it.
I originally thought like it was just because they were getting outplayed that night, but it's something he does a sub before 30 minutes frequently
Yeah.
enough that Colorado fans are no longer baffled by it. They've just accepted it as we have an idiot for a coach. Like,
I did enjoy the one commenter today who was like, I applaud early subs, so I'm okay with it.
yeah, like
And I was like, whatever, Sounder at Heart commenter. Wait till the first time Brian Schmetzer makes a 29th minute tactical sub,
almost a
and you
15-minute
lose your
tactical
shit.
like I remember the Sounders. Who was it? Sporting Kansas City a couple years ago, and Peter Vermees pulled a guy at 33, and then another guy at half, and that was because Seattle dominated.
Yeah.
But no, Anthony Hudson does this frequently enough that it's his gimmick.
So
Doesn't seem to be working out.
Yeah, if
Not the
that's what you're
problem.
well known for when you are one of 3 teams eliminated from the playoffs with a month to go.
what was the other good stat? 2 6-game
Losing streak.
losing
yeah.
streaks.
No, one of them's 8. It's an 8-game
That's such a good comeback.
It's an
I
8-game
don't even have anything.
and a 6-game.
Wow. That's torrentially bad.
Let's put it this way. The Chicago Fire have 25 points, and they haven't been eliminated from the playoffs yet. The Colorado Rapids have been eliminated from the playoffs already.
I mean, it is a World Cup year, so Chicago just has to be in it for a while.
So they can win the World Cup.
Yes.
It's because they have like 5 more games where everybody else is at 3 or
Yeah,
4.
seriously.
But
yeah, end to end, the Nico Ladero show and cast of characters. What a fantastic match to watch. Sometimes it's not fun to watch your team stomp on people because it gets dumb.
No.
This was actually exciting.
well, because we needed the
Pretty.
Tacos, haircuts.
There was someone in ECS section, like waving his hair around, chanting that he really needed a haircut. Please look at me. I really need a haircut.
yeah. They got rid of that one though,
Yeah, but
He'll be waiting a while.
or no, they got rid of the
they got
They
no
got
they,
pizza.
pizza.
yeah.
Yeah, but there's haircuts and
And the tacos at El Reconcedo, which is actually just up the hill here. If you are in Renton,
But within 24 hours.
of Kick.
Is it of kick?
Yeah.
Not of the end?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Well, it was great for the 8 p.m. game.
So yeah, they did that. Now there's a 10% off your like next SeatGeek purchase,
Oh, fuck this guy.
which I'm really disappointed to learn doesn't count my season tickets because that was my next SeatGeek purchase.
Sadly,
on.
didn't work for you. So really, though, end-to-end, fun game. Sounders just kept punishing. I don't know what there wasn't to love. Even Tim Howard was excited about fan participation at multiple points during the match.
Who?
He loved that one. Timmy, what's the score? One of his favorites. Clearly, we did go for the kill. That was another popular rendition. A bunch of former AO people, clearly in the section, did the same old Tim Howard. You gave up a goal. That went over not well at all. He did interact with people from the 253 ASG.
Oh, they're
area
usually
at
quiet
one
folks.
point. Tim Howard definitely gestured in some fashion, and I believe let up a goal after that.
Like
which makes it
like
better.
Earl Thomas gestured, or
I didn't see that,
Okay.
It wasn't.
but he was not pleased with how he was being treated by the local fan base.
He wasn't pleased with Raul Ruidiaz either.
Definitely not pleased with
And I
Ruidiaz.
love he like flexed and Raul's like, whatever, man, I'm the Green Lantern. Like I got no fear.
That may have
Made me
actually
feel
been something
really
he said. So you bring up Rui Diaz, and just to jump in on him specifically, and not to say that other forwards or other players that are there to score haven't been this before, and none of them do it currently. You saw like unselfishness from a guy that could drop 20 goals frequently in this match. His off the ball movement in and around the area in the six was great. He looked to pass multiple times, even if the ball was going to come back to him. He just looked so in tune with Ladero and others. It was really neat to watch him actually create plays that he would end up scoring out of.
We're kind of in an interesting circumstance because it's possible that FC Cincinnati would beat the Rapids. And
like now?
that's the type of team, like those are the teams that Seattle has to face for the run-in. Houston's
They're not bad, actually.
the home game. They're bad.
Eh.
They haven't been eliminated yet at Orlando, but
They're
Orlando
bad.
is all like.
Orlando is not good.
Remember when they fired their coach because he was the problem?
And they got even worse.
That definitely seems
Spoiler
to have been the case.
alert. He wasn't the
I think they've
problem.
only won one game since O'Connor Connor took over.
Yeah,
It's that's not been good.
and they traded away the guy that. Yeah,
I actually don't think Houston's that horrible. They have a positive goal differential. They're pretty good at home.
the home
They
game
have,
might be.
they've got some decent offensive weapons.
They have Beasley.
Yeah, it was 174, but so they're not terrible. Actually, looking at it at the beginning, I thought, oh, that's great. We've got 2 games against Houston, easy wins. But you look at their team; they're not, defensively they're pretty mediocre, but offensively they've got some really good pieces, and so they could certainly win that home game. And is that the second one coming back from Orlando? It's Orlando, Houston, right?
It goes hosting Houston
At Orlando.
at Orlando
Yeah. And then,
at Houston.
yeah, so that's a road game on short rest coming halfway across the country. So I'd definitely be worried about that one. If they get a point out of that one, I'd be super thrilled.
Do we
Seattle
wanna
has
just
a-
go into this points thing.
Yes.
Oh,
I
did I just segue us in there?
Yes.
We might as well. It's part of the
There's
discussion.
not a whole lot to say else about Colorado, frankly.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I do kind of want to get into a couple things from the game because there was some pretty amazing stuff that happened. But
You're amazing.
Well, we can finish up with Colorado.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do
Schmetzer,
that.
we did. Southern Heart got a shout out from Schmetzer at the press briefing, so that was pretty nice.
I'm waiting for Dave's remarks on that particular topic.
I mean, of course he reads Sounder at Heart.
Does he read the comments?
He doesn't read the comments, but Christian reads the comments.
Like out loud in the locker room? Because,
No,
by the way,
I
that
think
would be amazing.
probably he and Jordan hanging out. What?
Yeah, the athletic talked about their kind of.
Oh, that was weird how... Yeah, Matt Pence in The Athletic talked about a locker room dust-up.
It was
But-
Will Bruin.
Like, talked around it extensively without actually talking about
What happened?
what happened.
Well, I think, if I recall, no one wanted to go on the record with their names or details. One of the two things people weren't really
Right, he didn't get
say.
names or details, which at this point...
Say that Christian was reading Sounder and Hart comments.
And then somebody got in a fight over it. I think that's probably what happened. We start fights in the locker room. Confirmed.
Ship it.
Half-Life 3.
Wow. Did we really just... We went like... That wasn't a circle. That was some sort of weird...
Yeah, it was pretty cool to... I didn't get to my car in time because I went to Fuel to get some food after the game. And people are like... You know, the phone is like giving me these notifications. I'm like, stop, phone, stop. Oh, why is Sounder Heart constantly tagged? And I have its mentions kind of tuned down a little bit. I don't get notifications for everything Sounder Heart related anymore because there are like 5 of us with access to that account, so I don't need to. And I'm like, oh, wait, Schmetzer mentioned us. And then like I go back to watch the video and then read the transcripts, and I'm like, oh, like straight up.
Yeah, yeah. It was quite funny. Everyone in the press room laughed. So
That comes from Mickey Turner, official press room attendee.
I was the attendee for
that
one.
game?
Yeah, for that game. I was down there.
That's very cool of you.
Because I know you do that once in a while.
Yeah, I don't do it for every game.
You shouldn't. It's
Yeah,
boring.
yeah.
So, getting back into the game a little bit, Ladero just at so many points is just a game changer, and something that I've noticed when he and Roldan, even when Roldan's been a little bit more defensive as the lineup goes, they are just kind of crisscrossing the field, being wherever the ball is on offense or defense, and they almost are running their own kind of thing while the rest of the formation is happening around them, and it's just something cool to do when you just isolate for a second and just watch it, and it's obviously easier to do when you're there in person versus on television. But I was trying to pay attention to Nico as much as possible the other day, and it's just, you can see game faces on, and not that he's ever really, really way off his game, but when he's rolling, it's something to watch. And then you get Victor. First time, I believe he hasn't had that wrap on his leg. At least I didn't notice it this match. And that guy came to play. Not that he doesn't in other situations, but he just seemed so much more comfortable.
He's been pretty good since he's come back. He's unlucky against Philadelphia.
For sure.
Should have had a goal. I think should have had a goal against Vancouver as well. So it's great to see him back.
Yeah.
Back on full force.
Well, and then today, I guess it was yesterday, just a lot of comments about him. Like, Hendy, I think, had said when he had been scouting him, he's like, that's the guy that when he's on and rolling, like, to look at his confidence and the way he's able to finish is something to speak of. And that's where, when you talk about, like, a Brad Smith or whoever, like, the caliber of players playing in some other leagues, even the guys that might play, like, B team, you bring them in and you get them in a fully stocked offense, and they can do some pretty significant damage. And I think, we joked about go for the kill and other stuff, and we talked about a few weeks ago Schmetzer just continuing to sub in brutally good players. As that game against Ziggy went, it does not appear that there's any backing off the gas pedal right now. When it comes to Sounders.
Yeah. Well, and this game was good because they got a couple of guys who needed the time. in Buana and Delham. So that was pretty nice because they're probably one or two of them are going to be needed for that East Coast / Houston swing, especially with the international break. So
Yeah.
that was good to see.
Although Roldan's actually
He will be here.
going to stick around, which is great. Mark,
And
you were gonna say.
Kihi.
And that actually had
Oh, yeah? Is that...
Wasn't Kihi
yeah
left off too?
He's not going on.
He's off? Okay.
So we're waiting. Well, I think that covers everyone else because everyone else has already been called up, right?
Torres declined.
Yeah. Rui Diaz is up.
He's got to
Nico's up.
He's got to start running for president.
Gustav's up.
Yeah,
So-
just down 3.
Yeah. And
Wait, I didn't check on
Delham's up. Also,
Delham
yeah, Delham won't be here.
or Nuhu.
I haven't heard anything on Nuhu.
What about Justin Solomon?
Australia passed over their opportunity already.
Yeah. You know, I thought he would have had more of a tan.
Wow. Going there, huh?
Yeah.
It's been like 8 minutes, and you're like, I'm going to kill him.
Sup, Solo?
So we're gonna heckle out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
that what we're doing?
a bold
Mix it
choice
up
to
a
run the
little
audience out.
So you're saying we'll give him some airtime.
A little later.
Yeah,
All right.
I think that's maybe a good idea.
We'll see how it works out.
It depends on if Dave gets a hot toddy or not.
Maybe we can find him some tanning lights so we can make it look like he actually lives in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay. I kind of want to move so he can sit here because I just want to see what that interaction is going to be like. Anything else people want to talk about though from the match the other day? I mean, again, I think
Nuhu looked pretty good.
that shot.
Yeah, the shot was not,
just amazing.
But I think though
You mean the whole stadium going shoot?
we learned a little bit as to why Nuhu wasn't playing in a game where they dominated like that. So often, he just stopped going forward, even though there was no one in front of him.
Yeah.
And his passing against a team that had struggled to defend Seattle, like his passing.
I thought his intermediate passing was okay, like little ones and twos. But yeah, like his crossing was,
So
same as it was.
Same
as it ever was.
He did Nuhu. He got into space and then didn't really do anything with it, and that's why they wanted someone else to show up what to do with space.
So I have a question.
I'd still rate, like, if I was doing ratings. Oh, you don't get to give a half. Like, his would be the performance that I thought was the least, but at the same point, I don't get to do a half, so it'd either be a 7 or an 8.
Yeah, I thought he was good.
Like, so many people on that team would be getting 9s and 10s.
Yeah. How'd
Like,
you feel about Leardom?
Nico and Raul get a 10.
Leardom was very good.
I thought
he was
Leardom
getting.
was
He got
really good.
forward a ton. Obviously, he was doing the thing that Dave just said Nuhu wasn't doing on the other side, just acres of space, and so he was
Yeah.
able to just bomb forward.
take a walk, yeah.
60% of the game.
Leardom was getting so far forward that Kim would be 60 yards behind him and still be in the attacking half of the field.
There were a couple of cool moments. I have to say, like, this is where you look at that lineup and you see what you've got in a couple of players. But I would say Svensson, for one, like, even when he's kind of just doing some mop up.
Seattle sunshine.
What?
How's that go? Oh, yeah, that's right. Our special guest, the Rain, or Solo, either one. Okay, I'm just gonna move on.
Aren't you glad you're stuck between us two idiots?
I don't know if that's what I would say, but okay.
1.5.
But to be able to see,
You said there's no halves.
but to be able to see a guy like Svensson, like, just be there filling a couple of specific roles on the field, and it was almost like players just sort of took turns here and there because everybody was in on things. It's like you watch games sometimes and you're like, why is Chad Marshall in the attack? And it's like,
Why
did they
not?
just get bored? And
Yeah.
Chad's like, oh, I'll bring the ball up, I guess. No one's guarding me. Like, cool. I don't know. It just it seemed like they genuinely had fun and still pressed and really played a hard game backwards and forwards.
Did everybody
on
Wang
Saturday.
Chung?
Probably. I mean, I can't say for sure. I mean, ask that question the next time that you see the players.
I think, by the way, we might need to incorporate that into an ECS song.
Wang Chung, it's been discussed. But to come back to where I was attempting to go when I
Sorry,
threw myself
my
off
Weigel was out.
the sidebar there. So something ECS is doing right now with a John Glyer Memorial ECS Player of the Year every year. It's been Christian Roldan the last couple of years. There are years where you feel like it's a total toss-up, and then you have years where it's super, super obvious. And 3 months ago, I had a pick or two. And I would be curious right now if you were to pick who that is. It's not the MVP. It's the person that kind of embodies like what the ECS spirit is, or just a supporter spirit and just this particular type of energy and like giving their all, or like believing in things, whatever those things are. And I would just be curious as to what other people, if they had an opinion they were willing to share, who they thought that might be, because it's been a discussion that's gone on a little bit online and offline in the last couple of weeks.
To recap, previous winners: Christian Roldan, Brad Evans, Zach
Brad
Scott,
Evans, Casey Keller,
Mauro Gonzalez.
Mauro, yeah. And again, not always the player that was the most offensive-minded in a year, whatever it is. It's really the person that kind of, you see that they're giving their all.
There's generally a lot of respect for that toughness and grit aspect, or that badassery.
Yeah.
Like the willingness to get in a dude's face. Kind of surprised Ozzy hasn't won it before. I'm currently Steph. That's where I would lean currently.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, he's been damn headphone delay thing. I mean, he's been out in the community more this year than I think I've seen him in the last few years. I mean, doing things like Flounders B Team podcast type stuff. Like, I don't know. I would. That's who I would say too.
Beating everyone at Fortnite.
Yes.
Suggesting that a limited edition start.
I found out that I don't know how to spell Fortnite today. I spelled it like with the GHT.
Are you the dad that will walks the character into the wall?
I don't know.
Yes.
Is there a dad that walks characters into walls in the
There
game?
usually is.
There you go.
You'll be doing the floss dance.
I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
We need to have Adam learn the floss dance.
Mickey had somebody he would vote for. Well, they show Adam that. Let's where are you leaning on your ECS?
That's such a tough one. I'd probably lean towards Bruin, I think. He's been out there as well, doing lots of stuff.
I didn't know that was what it was called. I didn't know it was Fortnite.
Doing a lot of cool things. Showed up for a memorial service. Hung out with ECS. So that's kind of, I guess, where I'd kind of go. But
It's just the hung out with ECS that one time.
Yeah, that was
You're
one
like,
time.
You got me.
Pop and smoke is always get you a couple
It is
extra
up
points.
there on the list of things you can do. Hang out in an alley and pop smoke. Okay. Check the box.
Yeah, that's all I've got really at this point. But Fry's obviously a fantastic shout as well. So,
Mark, do you have an opinion?
No.
Okay, cool. I guess we'll move on.
I want to hear more about Mark's opinion.
Mark is definitely checking out what's on the internet right now. And shit is good.
Mark, which dating app are you using?
Facebook?
It's new Facebook. Facebook 2. It's green. Otherwise, it's just like Facebook. I would say Fry for me. First half of the season, it was Svensson. Well, right up until that World Cup break, I think he was one of two players that had played whatever it was every minute up to that point. Was just consistent week in, week out. But the more we got into it, and then the more you see somebody who not could have given up or I would have ever expected to give up, but sometimes you see teams that are bad and keepers just start getting trashed. But, you know, he was still losing 1-0 and not 3-4-0. And that was really impressive. And part of the reason Sounders are where they are in like goal differential standpoint and whatnot is about Stephen Fry. And I think he's inspired people and like made the play in front of him be even better. Like the back 4 or 5, depending on the week of the season, has been really, really consistent as well.
Yeah.
But I think Fry has changed that dynamic a lot. I think Bruin stands out to a lot of people, and that's someone that I've heard from quite a few folks that they think it's something they'd love to see him win. Just they think his attitude, and I think getting access to players changes people's opinions, you know? Like you bump into them at a bar and you get to shoot the shit with them for 20 minutes. And
So then my vote's for Harry Ship.
Did you go see Harry Ship at Care MD yesterday?
No, I did not.
He can walk.
The complimentary
You can't
MRI.
walk.
Did you see the photo that Rachel got? She had him write, "I can walk," next to his picture, or next to himself in the picture. And then he autographed it.
That will
Which is
never not be funny.
equally super fucked up and super amazing. Because he doesn't know what the story is behind it.
He also
okay.
doesn't know the time Larry gave the beer I was drinking to him at the AC.
But at least no one asked him to sign their national team jersey.
Fuck you.
So yeah.
That was one of my favorite Mark moments.
That was a great moment.
Great moments in soccer history.
You know who still hasn't played for the U.S. men's national team?
Dwayne De Rosario.
Yeah.
The second best Canadian player of all time.
He could use his one-time change.
His one-time switch.
At 40 years old.
So we do have a question. So
Still would be a better
let's-
keeper than
let's
Tim
grab
Howard.
it while we're here. Wow. So Oscar in the chat just threw out a good random one. Considering expansion, this was probably inspired by a Cincinnati mention earlier. Who are possible players to be added or left on, depending on your perspective, the draft list
Oh, like the protected
Yeah.
list?
or the unprotected list?
I have an
So
idea
who-
for unprotected.
It can only end in tears.
It ends with an O and starts with a T.
Are you gonna add it?
So anyway,
See, it starts with an O.
No, ends with an O, starts with a T.
Okay, I thought we
You know
were
what?
doing something
You know what's
bad.
funny is every year I get less and less concerned about the expansion draft, and it's not just because they changed it so only 5 players are getting taken, but it's like, yeah, it sucked to lose a player that's connected to the community, but I don't think there's a player that they could lose that would change their fortunes, and that hasn't been true for like they've been deep enough for some time that losing their 12th or 13th best player, like. Oh no, we lost Tyler Miller last year, and yes, he's having a very good season, but you know what? It didn't really matter. Like, on the field. People who are Tyler Miller fans, it really mattered to, but
they were displeased.
on the field, there's no impact.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah, so,
Has Fred missed a game this year?
yeah, 2.
2, right?
Yeah,
At least one.
okay.
2.
I think it was 2.
There's
Might
definitely
only be
one.
one. Meredith has definitely one start because that was the only other game this year where they gave up more than 3 goals or 3 or more goals. Yeah, I mean it's just like it sucks to, you know. I called Jeremiah one night and asked him to write the story about Mike Facito being traded because it sucks to lose guys that you connect with, but the impact on the field is not going to matter.
But your appetite got so much better. And that was ultimately good.
So much weight.
That was good for Seattle.
I've put on a lot of weight since then.
Immediately after Mike Facito's departure.
From 2012?
No, that's a good point. And ultimately, I will say I think everyone has their personal fanship and the players you love or adore, or like made friends with offline or whatever it is. I do think on the whole people understand when there's an opportunity that's really, really good for someone's career. And, Hunch Punch in the chat brings it up. It's like, totally deserved that chance. Very good for his career. It absolutely was. Like, not a lot of times that an LAFC is going to show up with some bank and be decent, and for you to start immediately for a team like that, it's not going to happen that many times. So, good for him, ultimately. You'd like to have a stacked set of backup keepers in your system because you never know what's going to happen. But for Tyler, it was great.
Who else have we lost in the expansion draft?
Latu, did you mention him?
Yeah, Latu is the biggest loss.
Yeah. That one hurt.
That one hurt.
But that was the last one that had an impact on
That
the
was like
field. It was
800 years
2010.
ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
So
Bothering me.
maybe
Thanks,
I'm
Mark.
just used to losing at the beginning of the year, so I don't take anything as seriously as I used to, or maybe it's because I'm old now.
You have a cool hat, though. So
Have they
You're
even
only old just now.
Happened this month.
This month it happened. This month that you turned old.
Yeah.
today?
Thank you.
That's the joke.
I turned old this month too.
I didn't turn old.
Did have they announced if we are having an expansion draft this year?
They haven't announced it. That's currently assumed.
Yeah, because I know there was rumblings that they wanted to get rid of it.
I'm surprised they've even announced when
Entirely.
MLS playoffs are.
So maybe they're taking one DP away from each team and then giving all of
And
the
making them play for
DPs
Cincinnati.
One DP team.
No, yeah, just a full team of DPs.
Thank you, Justin. Fuck. Chuckle at that.
I, too, was going to make that joke, but Mark is here, and there's only so many DP jokes I can make in front of Mark. And that's...
You ever
one.
play quarters?
Is this it's the Kavanaugh party?
No.
As long as
By the
Let's
way,
remember,
And
Cincinnati.
not like that.
Have you?
Not like that.
Have you ever played quarters? No, really. Have you? I want to know. Have you ever played quarters?
So, I mean, Cincinnati already has one designated player on their roster. So you might want to. Some
Yeah,
teams
don't
will probably
just
leave
look
them
back
exposed just to lose one.
Yeah,
Oh, is that what DP
I'm sure they already
stands
have
for?
their who they're looking for anyway. So, what are the odds they want a cast off
my life
MLS DP?
I don't know.
They already
guys.
have a cast-off MLS DP,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
playing very well for them.
Yeah, I don't
How many
know.
DPs have ever been chosen in the expansion draft?
Hold on.
I can't think of any.
I don't know. The Sounders tried to convince Vancouver to take Blaise Kufo, and they didn't do it. They've thought
Bloomberg was traded. Flacco was traded.
Mid-season. Morrow was Morrow.
He was traded.
No, he moved around a lot,
and he was traded
But
to
I don't,
Chivas.
I don't know
not
if
an
there's
expansion.
been
I don't
one.
think
No, I'm
there's
just
been
saying
one.
it was not
Yeah.
an expansion.
I can't think of one. I mean, there's...
I mean, it's if the type of person you're trying to offload that way. I'm sure every team is like.
Most teams don't want to
There's
saddle
a
them.
reason that they are being offloaded.
Well, but that's like Major League Baseball when you're like, oh, this Alex Rodriguez, yes, we will leave him available in the waivers because no one is going to touch him.
There's a question: will Ozzy be protected? He's a free agent, so it is.
He's a free
extremely
agent, so they won't protect him.
yeah, extremely unlikely. They could, yeah, they're not going to protect him, and no team would pick him up anyway because you get the rights to a free agent, which means basically you get the rights to like 3 days
It's like
of
a
negotiating.
48-hour window where you have exclusive negotiating rights.
Absolutely. Which Ozzy could just say
Get an
screw
actual
you
player.
and go elsewhere. So entirely pointless. He's a free agent and won't be protected.
Do you, kind of while we're on this, is there anyone that's an interesting player in the league that you think might get left unprotected? Anybody that stands out to you?
It's tough to say at this point. because I want to see like salaries and who is.
Because I would
Oh,
definitely
we still have a
leave,
salary dump to come.
Yeah,
definitely
exactly. It hasn't
leave
come yet.
Liam Ridgewell unprotected.
Oh yeah, they did re-sign him for a couple of years.
just because he deserves it. And good job with the red card this week.
I'm sure Portland would love to get rid of him at this point.
Yeah. That's not.
No, they won't. They don't want to get rid of him. They signed him to an extension. If they wanted to get rid of him, they wouldn't have done
just
that.
to basically get him out from under the DP tag. It was what's his name? Shalry Joseph's
They
special.
could have just bought him
Nice.
out if they wanted to be rid of him.
Yeah.
You sign a guy to an extension because you want him around.
Let's not pretend that MLS roster rules make any sense.
No, the buyouts make sense. It's like
Yeah, the buyout makes sense. When did they sign him to his extension? Was it in the
this
offseason?
offseason. Just this last one, I believe.
I don't know.
Well, it's possible he had a couple
to
more
Dave's
guaranteed
point,
years.
We have seen Liam Ridgewell's money habits on the internet. So
Wait,
I
that's my
could
point?
see him appreciating a buyout and just having like oodles of cash available for him to do unsightly things in his bathroom with. So that's a good point.
Although the buyouts are kind of ridiculous because, well, they're good for the player. I mean, they get paid, but it doesn't mean that you're a free agent. It just means you are now employed by MLS LLC, and they will try to find a place for you to go until
Cincinnati.
your contract's up.
You're
So
a Masifian?
Yeah, Massisian, Captain Hare, what's his name?
Mixed
Yeah,
Discarud.
Discarud.
Poems, man.
Yeah, those guys were not just cut loose; they were actually sent on loan elsewhere until their contracts run out. So, it's
Well,
not-
yours was even weirder because they recalled him from his loan and then had Chicago. Isn't he in Chicago
he's in
now?
Chicago now for the rest of the year, and I think he's got 2 years left on his deal, and the trade is only for this year. So it sounds like he will once again be an employee of MLS starting in 2019, unless Chicago takes up his deal. So the buyouts are, it's just a function of MLS's funky structure that every player is employed by the league and not by each of the teams. So even if you're bought out, if you have multiple years left on your contract, that just means they're going to try to find somewhere else to put you. And if all else fails, then
There's
they'll
a train.
terminate your contract.
Oh, look, choo choo.
Hunch Punch wants to know if Austin will get any picks in the expansion draft, and he's asking for a hat.
For a hat? Like the sorting hat?
I think he wants their tree hat.
Si, senor. Uno más, por favor.
It's still to be determined if they're going to get an expansion team or the team that's currently
So
playing.
I feel like we're in the errata mode in the show, and that's actually fun. If
There's
you were
still a
to
train.
right now, if you were to say Columbus keeps a team, Austin also gets a team next year,
Not next year.
the year after.
It would be Austin would come in 2021 if they were to get an expansion team.
They could come in 2020.
I don't think so because I don't think they'll have a stadium where there's no way their stadium's going to get built before 2021.
I mean, there's no way their stadium's going to be built for 2019, and they're already
Well,
talking about moving the crew there.
That is not going to happen at this point. I don't think. I think
Don't
I think they're
chuckle at
screwed.
MLS, dude.
Yes.
Shit is going to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the problem is that they do not have a place to play right now, or in Austin to play. They could play. University of Texas is not going to have them. They don't want them anything to do with them. There's a stadium out in Round Rock, Texas, which is like 30 miles away, at Dell Diamond, which seats like 10,000 people.
So
the
cool.
Round Rock
they,
Express.
Yeah, Round Rock Express.
they could do it Fort Worth style.
Fort Worth has that. That's a long ways away.
No, I'm
No,
just saying.
Round Rock is. Yeah. He's saying that it's way out there. It's not in the.
Not
it's
anywhere
even close.
near,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. It's not even close. I've heard some rumblings that MLS has basically said that Dell is a no-go. They're not going to approve that place to have them play in a place like that for 2 years. That's not confirmed or anything like that. So that one's done.
Toyota Stadium in San Antonio,
Yeah.
which is owned by the Spurs, I believe,
And there's a team that already plays there. And
that made an expansion bid.
yes, it was probably looking. They would love to sue Garber. And actually, they probably like to arrest him at this point.
Oh, you can't arrest somebody
Yeah.
for.
Well, they tried to, or they investigated
no,
the
they-
possibility, and they said that they couldn't do
Civil, not criminal.
it. No, they investigated for fraud. I'm not sure if it was. I'd have to look again. I thought there was a possibility of criminal charges. But anyway, to answer your question, chances of both coming in next year is 0. Chances of Austin coming in at some point next year are probably
So Columbus leaving.
Columbus leaving.
Chances are what?
I would say they are. It's probably about 55-45, but moving down.
Moving down.
Like,
It's
is
less
that like
likely
because you
less
haven't
likely they move. Less
Because
likely
you
they
haven't
move.
heard anything?
Actually,
less likely they move.
less likely they move because they are not. I don't think they've. I think MLS has gotten tired of pre-court's antics, basically, or his incompetence.
So
if you want to say,
they're meeting up with the rest of us.
yes,
Tired of pre-courts
yes,
antics.
yeah, exactly.
So there's a chance that there are solutions that basically involve getting Precourt out of the league.
Yes,
That would make me so happy.
there is one specific solution which involves 2/3 of the MLS owners basically saying, "You're an idiot, and we're tired.
You're
of this.
harming
Yeah,
us.
You're harming us. Take $100 million and go away."
That
You're
was like
allowed to
2
harm
years ago.
yourself. You're not allowed to harm us.
Yeah, that's what happened with Chivas. They booted Vergara and just paid him $70 million.
Yeah, which was less than half of the franchise value.
So what you're saying is all we need to do is fly a plane around map free a couple times, and Precourt is out.
Oh,
yes,
'Cause
that's
that was-
yes.
that's exactly how Pro Rel got instituted. Is because planes flew over, and now we have Pro Rel.
I mean, it's great.
Actually, yeah, we'll say
I'm still amazed, by the way, at the USL rebranding. I don't even know where they came up with the names of those levels.
it is
Wait,
pretty amazing. I
League
have to
1
say.
and League 2. No one has ever done that before.
It is quite. Yeah.
I'm excited for like USL. What is it? USL North. No, stop. Just stop.
Championship.
Someone made money on that, and I work in branding, and I think that person should give all
Is
of
that-
the
yeah.
money back.
I don't know that they hired a branding expert. I think it was
I don't
just
know
one
if
of those
that
things
makes it
where
better
like they're
or
like,
worse.
let's just do what England does.
That is literally what happened. Thanks. So we have a couple
That's
things
empty.
we want to talk about with points and make some, let's
Oh.
call them bigger picture prediction things. But I did want to share one thing from, if you haven't read this, this actually might be worth spending $5 to subscribe to The Athletic
Absolutely.
for 1 month, is the Sounders Players Survey. It's so good.
I haven't read it yet, so I will look forward to it.
And
Spoilers.
There's a question about who has the best taste in music, and then there's a who has the worst. And Stephen Fry says, let's go with Tony Alfaro. For no real reason. I just want to give it to him. And I read that, and I immediately thought of Mark.
Fair.
And then I did the floss dance in my living room.
You know, I bet Tony is better at the floss dance than he is at
Wow.
defending.
At soccer.
There's a comment from a Tony in the chat.
Yes, I recognize he's a professional soccer player, and I am but a mere pub league player that has 0
Wait,
minutes.
are you
this
showing up
season.
this year? Okay,
I will be there Sunday.
maybe.
I will say I'm gunning for Mark records this year. I'm 2 for 4, making it to public.
I actually have just been waiting for our jerseys to arrive before I would like to play.
Still not available.
So I don't need to be there.
Max out.
I think he had some significant distractions come up in his life.
He had multiple significant distractions.
Oh yes, I heard about a
Yes,
couple of them.
the distractions were not his fault. It was our unfortunate rep change. It's not Max's fault. I won't throw shade to him, but I will to Tony.
Mark is the Earl Thomas of pub league.
Are you on my team this year?
Oh, that's so good.
No, I have a bar
All right,
sponsor.
let's
Fuel.
go to the question that we had asked on the Twitters.
Yes.
Adam's like, which one?
No, we only asked one. Adam
That
put-
one.
Yeah, he put
All right,
down.
so let's leave this up for a minute.
Oh, graphics.
'Cause
That's so
it's worth
fancy.
Talking about. Is this the
Pretty
one with
impressive.
the letters? Cool.
Oh,
So this one
home
breaks it-
away.
Money.
breaks it up with home and away.
You did that?
I did that.
That was very well done, sir.
So
Adam did
the
like 90% of the
question we
work.
had asked
I
was-
take credit for the
Put H's and A's on
yes.
there.
I take credit for 15%.
Well, and do you like my first question is like, why the fuck is there a star over RSL? And Tom's like, in
I will
2009
tell
they
you
won
why.
the MLS
Yes.
championship. And I'm like, yes, Tom.
So
By the way, Tom, the LA Galaxy have a star in their crest.
I was laying on the couch,
That's a
Um,
pointed, awkward.
not not really able to move because I had injured my back, and so I wasn't like fully like really putting much energy into making this graphic. And I just Googled MLS logos, and some random site. It wasn't MLS at all.
Laziness
Some
prevails.
random site had them, and that was the only one that they had grabbed from some other site that had the star.
I do appreciate the graphic. It's a good graphic. I just had to nitpick because I'm an asshole.
All right, so Sounders have played 30 matches, 4 to go, 47 points. Let's just start with Sounders and then break out from there. So 2 home, 2 away, twice versus home and away versus Houston. The lowly Quakes at the end of the season, and a weird
That is a
Orlando-
Heritage Cup. That is for
It
the
is
Heritage
Leg
Cup.
2 Heritage Cup. You know Sounders are winning 96-0. And a weird lion sandwich in the middle there. How many points, Adam?
12.
That would be 59 total.
No, I'm asking.
Plus 12.
Yeah, plus they're going to get 12. What I want to know is how many points are each of these teams going to get?
Oh,
Right, we're gonna run through everybody.
Yeah.
So
Oh, gosh.
Sounders, you're calling undefeated,
Yep.
all victories, 12 points.
Yep.
How many more goals
12.
for Owen?
12 for one game. Each game.
I-
Each game, Owen gets 12 goals.
So we
12,
know
huh?
we know that Adam is watching 12 Monkeys when he gets home tonight.
What's that smell?
Well done. All right. I'm going to say 10. 10 points. That's 57 for those of you with math. Mark, what do you got?
12.
12.
And it's not even close, as Tom would say.
Okay.
I guess I'll be the pessimistic one and say 9. I think the Houston away.
Only 9.
Yeah. 3-1 is pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
In literally every other season, if we were like Sounders 3-1, 3-1, 2 home, 2 away,
Be like,
would
yes.
you take 3-1? And all of us would raise our hands.
I think it's just a combination of the Houston away and having some guys working their way back from international duty. That's it.
David?
I think I'll be the pessimistic one and say 8.
I was waiting for him to be like,
4.
I know, right? The Sounders are not making the playoffs.
I was gonna make a 51 joke just for the hell of it, but I decided no.
8's not mathematically possible.
Yeah, there's 2 wins, 2 ties.
8's
3
possible.
plus 3
8's
plus
possible.
1 plus
Fuck
1.
you, I went to Wazoo, okay?
I mean, you said it.
I went to Yale! I worked hard!
SonarFeed averaged 10.2 points.
Dude, if they get 0.2, that'd be freaking awesome.
How fucking cool is that going to be?
By the way, this international break, to quote one Nicky Graziano, seriously, World Cup is over. Who gives a shit? That's all.
League of Nations, man. That's the newest thing.
Is that this round? Is League of Nations? Or is that the
And
November
Hunch Punch
one?
brings up, none of these are gimmies. And at the
Sweden's
end of the
is-
day, again,
Okay, I think this
you
is
play the
Sweden's.
games for a
And-
reason. You never know what's going to happen. There's friendlies. Players are
Injured,
potentially getting
yeah.
injured. Players are coming back from injuries. all sorts of things. You never know what's going to happen. Frankly, San Jose will fire their coach the day before the match, and they'll try and get the, fired coach bump.
Remember when the Galaxy got the fired coach bump? You know what happened to them, right?
It was great.
They lost 5-3.
Yeah. Didn't go well.
That was their better team.
All right.
It
so
wasn't the coach.
So we're somewhere in the kind of 57-point ballpark where you two average us. Let's start from the bottom, so from the Galaxy, and move to the left from there. So Galaxy, 44 points, away
Loss.
at Kansas City.
Loss.
I'm calling tie on that one.
You
Away
think
at
so?
Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm calling tie.
All right.
Wow.
Away at Minnesota.
Loss.
Loss.
I'm calling tie on that one.
Home versus Dynamo.
It won't matter because if they tie the first two, they've been eliminated.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
But we're still asking how many points they were going to get.
I'm going to say 3.
Yeah, I'm saying
3
5.
points.
I think,
Total?
I think
That's either like a cop out answer
Totally a cop-out answer.
or
All my answers are going to be
a cop out answer the other way.
All of my answers are going to be cop-out answers.
Okay.
2.
2.
2.
I'm going to say 3.
You're going to draw all of them?
No. I'm going to say Zlatan hat trick versus Houston. And then he's just
In a
gonna,
completely meaningless game.
just torch Houston.
All right.
RSL, 46 points. They've got their
Timbers.
home Timbers.
Home and away. We got the graphic.
Yeah. Home Revs. Away
It seems
Timbers.
like a sixer. to me.
Sixer, yeah.
5.
3.
Like, I think that they and Portland are going
4.
to draw both games.
That could absolutely happen. But I think they'll get 6. I think they'll take care of their home games.
saying 8? No.
Okay, so
I said 4.
Basically, we're going to have the worst team
I said 3.
in the
What did you
West
say?
have 51 points.
4.
Yeah, I think yeah.
What did those two say?
I said 6.
I said 5.
5.
Let's go faster.
You got a date?
No, but 7 minutes of this is boring.
That's wrong. 22 divided by 5. Timbers. RSL, Caps.
5.
3.
This is the part where you have to start looking at other games
I
that
know,
you've
to
already
make
made
sure your
decisions
math
on.
checks out. It's like
None of us are gonna.
like a
None of
logic
us are gonna
game.
get that right.
Literally why I'm going with ties all across the
I'm agreeing 5. By the way, you know what matters in that last match
3.
between the Timbers and the Whitecaps? Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
So they're going to get an average of about 4 points, according to our math.
That's 3.8.
I'm rounding. I can't give them 0.8.
That's the other end of our point 2.
Okay. Okay. What about, where are we?
LAFC.
LAFC.
So they've got
3.
Rapids, Dynamo,
9.
Caps. Away at SKC.
I'm going to go with 10.
10.
I'm
gonna
going to
say
go
9.
7. 7 for me.
David.
8.
Who do you think they draw against?
I
8.
think they draw.
Dynamo and KC?
I think they draw against KC,
And
and then they win their 2 home games. Or they no, I what did I say? 7. I think they lose one of their home games. I think they lose Houston. Shock upset.
Okay.
All right. SKC, home versus LA, away at Caps, away at Dallas, home versus LA to finish the season.
I'm going 4. 4 ties. I'm actually predicting 4 ties.
That's actually a good call.
I'm going 6 with 3 ties.
Yeah.
This probably is not congruent with anything I've picked, but I'm going to say 5.
6.
5 points for them.
Okay. And FCD, who's got the most the most diversity as teams go in its schedule.
Yeah.
DC United in there.
Away.
Orlando. The Wayne Rooney special they've got going on there.
Wayne Rooney.
And then
Three.
home and away to finish the season, SKC and Colorado.
I'm going 7. Since I predicted an SKC tie.
I also have a
Where is-
7.
Where is DC in the table?
I'm going to agree.
They're 7th.
DC is definitely making the playoffs.
DC is pulling a Seattle, basically.
Okay.
And they have a lot more home games.
Mark says 19.
Yeah, they're going to get 60 to 61 points.
8.
Win the West. Be better than...
Yeah, I'm predicting Dallas to win the West.
Okay. So we end up with, based on the numbers you just pulled up,
Those are that they're
Riveting.
What they're in right now is position they're currently in.
Okay.
right.
Yep. LA
So
Galaxy's not
third-
on there 'cause I
So
can't
Sounders
say
in
that.
Sounders in third.
Third for us.
Sounders in third.
Oh, wait.
Is there some fun graphic that is?
Oh, it's going to update here in a sec?
Oh, there we go.
So Sounders in third. So the buys go to Dallas and LAFC.
Does what was LA at final?
LA was at
58.
Yeah, they 58.
No.
48.
Galaxy.
Galaxy. Okay, so they miss by a
Yeah,
point.
They're out.
Yeah.
Oh, that Carson.
Yeah, Carson.
You did that so
Carson.
quick.
That is super fancy.
Can we do it on the broadcast Wednesday?
Can we get drop shadow next time?
I could. Yeah.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
All right, cool.
I'm not sure about the spacing between these.
Okay.
All
so,
right, that's
On a graph, is it still called kerning?
Ooh.
oh well. There we go.
Okay. So, well done.
Why are we here?
Yesterday, Adam's like, guys, I think we should have this segment where we do this thing. And all of us were like, okay, that sounds like a good idea.
Like I said,
And then I chimed in today. Yeah, it looks good.
JJ asked if he could get it in cornflower blue. Do we want to call in the reinforcements?
Yeah, you want
we're in third.
you want solo?
Oh, here I'll go use the.
Okay.
Somewhat.
We're saying-
Wait, you're gonna?
we're saying
Damn
we're-
it.
We're gonna end the season
In third.
I think you're all wrong.
Where do you think
Everybody's
we're
gonna
going?
tie, and we're gonna win out. We're gonna get 12. Everybody else is gonna 4 or 3.
59 and a bye. Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll all take that.
That's right.
Mark, did you get the Pokemon yet?
He's moved on from
The
Pokemon.
fuck are you talking about?
Oh, wait. There's someone new here on the dais. I just want to say dais.
That's not Mickey?
That is not Mickey.
Even though the Twitter thing says it is.
No, we're good. We do not want to give Justin's Twitter out.
Long time no see.
Nobody wants to see
We'll break the internet.
Fuck, I don't think
You have to talk.
I don't think I've seen you since Mexico.
Take your face, put it next to the microphone.
I haven't
What's
seen
going
you
on?
What's
since
his Twitter handle?
Taco time.
No, taco time. It's been a while.
This is Justin Solomon.
Squeeze the chicken.
This is his second appearance on SonarFeed, if I remember
Yeah, it's
correctly.
Second or third? Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly. Yeah, it's been a while though. Yeah, it's great to be back though.
You were on when you were a senior in high school, I think.
I think so this must be the third. I think senior in high school, and then I think one of the last times I was not the last time, but one of the times I was back since I've been living in Mexico. So yeah,
So I bumped into Justin during the game.
During the game,
a couple
halftime.
of times.
yeah, halftime and
Post-game.
Did
Post-game,
you
yeah.
apologize for bumping into him?
I should have apologized.
And I invited him down here, and then I forgot until he texted me this morning and said, "Hey, so I'm going to be there." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." Cool.
Beer.
I
So
should
Justin,
I
explain
should
to
have
us-
apologized again.
Explain to us why Suncoast United is the greatest team ever.
Sunshine Coast United. They're shiny. It's shiny. It's hot there. It's beautiful. It's my hometown actually. It's where I'm from or where I was born. So to really bring it back, but no, it's actually like a family club. It's I think in the future they're going to try to put in a bid. I think they were talking about it when I was there, a bid to be in the A League, and they're going to try and figure out things to like expand that stadium. I think that will be the location, the future of location of where that stadium would be if they try to be in the A League and everything. And it's a good club and stuff. The training ground is really close to the match ground.
I should rewind a little bit because I'm probably the only one that knows this. But Justin played for Sunshine Coast United down in Australia. Yeah. I believe it was their second division at the time.
Second division. Yeah, it's NPL, I think is what they called it.
That was one of the many things he did post Sounders Academy.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I think that in the future, I think that would be one of the places that I think at some point will end up being in the A League. Their owner was like really, really ambitious. He was like a super good guy. I talked to him multiple times. He gave me a ride home once. He was like a really, really friendly guy. I think he was like a really well-off lawyer or something. And he was a really good guy, and he had like a lot of ambition to like really push for like A League and expansion and stuff.
So you watch a lot of Mexican League soccer now because you live full time.
I watch as much as I can.
And then you follow MLS still?
Yes, of course.
What's the closest team to
closest team is Chivas and Atlas. Yeah, in Guadalajara.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's the same state.
It is
in Jalisco,
probably
yeah.
Chivas, because
But it's-
that stadium is so far out of Guadalajara.
Yeah. I think Chivas, I think that's the closest, yeah.
You were telling me that down there you were talking to somebody about like what you were going to do when you were up here, and you were like, yeah, I'm going to go to a Sounders game, and they were like, oh, that wasn't you. That was my friend who just went to Mexico. Shoot. Never mind.
No, it's funny, like...
how do people, like, down there, like, do you see them... Do people talk about Sounders now with Raul Ruidiaz and like, players that have performed quite well in Latin leagues?
Yeah, for me, a lot of people, I think the most... Like, the curiosity about the league is what people always ask me about. They say, the biggest question that people ask me is MLS now as good or better than Liga MX? That's like the biggest thing that people ask me.
Do you laugh at that?
I just
I would laugh.
I kind of laugh. Yeah, I do kind of like at first I'm like, no, it's not, but it's always getting better. I'm like, if you saw MLS 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, it's not the same as it is now, and it's always getting better, and it's always improving. The players are always improving, and everything like that. So they like always. I always try to give them things to want to watch now and watch in the future. I always want people like to draw attention to the league and things like that. And so they see players like big players like Raul Ruidiaz, like they see guys like him going over to MLS, and that really draws their curiosity to want to watch MLS games. So
I have a question. How deep in your boxes do you have to dig to find a scarf?
To find a scarf, I really actually had to. I recently
Stopped
moved.
at H&M before you came here.
Yeah, I recently moved, so I put like a bunch of my summer stuff in like 3 boxes. I just dumped it all in some boxes.
You mean short shorts?
Yeah, so like all these pants and like jackets and stuff, and scarves and everything, and I had like one box for just like antiques and just old stuff of mine, and I had a bunch of Sounder stuff in one box, and I had to go into that box to find scarves and like my old jackets and my old sweaters and old sweatpants.
What's antiques? Like 1987?
For me, antiques is like from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and 8 years ago is like, yeah, it's for me antiques. My
You just
U.S.
wanna take it
life
off
is
your lawn, don't
antiques. Yeah.
I actually want to spend the last 15 minutes of the show just talking about Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta, yeah, we could talk about Puerto Vallarta.
No, I
as
got
much as you
some
want.
Camas questions.
Camas questions? Yeah, I think we talk about the Camas boys.
Yeah, because finally, after like 6 years of me asking, Justin kind of recapped his academy time over at Sounder at Heart.
Mm-hmm.
And
That was a great read, by the way.
Yeah, I really can. At some point, I can even expand on that. I kind of just really wanted to just put something out and just, but at one point, I can always even go further on some of those things.
back before the Portland Timbers joined MLS,
Yeah.
people down there in Clark County, the good players, had the opportunity to be with the Sounders.
Mm-hmm. A lot of
And
good players, too.
Talk through who, like, you're here right now, and obviously
Right.
that. So there's Justin Solomon, but who else was kind of in that group of academy guys from Clark County that were in a Sounders academy based in Tukwila?
Yeah. Okay. So of course, you guys all know probably Nick Polotachuk. He was the gem. He was the guy who everybody knew about. It kind of sucked for guys like me and Keenan, and there was and James and a lot of other really good
Keenan's
players.
last name?
Townsend. Keenan Townsend, James Nosak. I'll start naming some other players. These were guys who were already in the Sounders. But Nick Polotachuk was the big name. He was the guy who kind of overshadowed all of us. There was so many good. I'm not trying to bag on Nick or anything. Nick was the friendliest guy, nicest guy. I love Nick, but he was an incredible player. He's one of the really, really good players I played with. But he kind of overshadowed all of us because everybody thought, oh, Vancouver, it's Nick Polotachuk's town. But no, we were a lot of really good players too. But Nick was such a good player. He was probably the best player that we had in the academy when he left right before I came back in, and he was the top gem. He played in the U17 World Cup. He was the captain of the team, I believe. He had offers from Arsenal to go over there. I think to join their academy at first, or join their under 18s or under 19s, and I think he was one of the first guys that the Sounders offered, I think, for a contract.
Mm-hmm.
There was
he wound up doing 4 years at Duke.
Yeah, he had 4 years at Duke. He broke his
little injury.
He broke his ankle. I think broke his ankle or broke his foot, and then he he came back and started. He went back to Duke, or came back after that injury. Still did well, and then it was just really tough for him. I know it was tough for him after he got hurt, and it just didn't really work out.
He did some
for him.
games with the U23s.
Yeah,
under Swatsky, and I think he
went to Portland and did under 23 games there too.
There too, and I think he's coaching for Crossfire.
I'm not sure.
He's
Yeah.
coaching for a local, either senior club or academy team now.
That's good for him though, because sometimes you can really lose the love for the game and things like that after you have problems, or sometimes you might not make it, and you just kind of want to just be away from it. You kind of just want to separate from the game because maybe the game didn't give you everything that you wanted or something like that, so you reject it. But to see him, if he's still coaching and stuff like that, it's really good for him. I would really be happy if that's the case. But yeah, he was a really, really good player. Everybody talked about him. Everybody wanted to play with him. Nobody wanted to play against him. But he was from Camas. He was actually from Battleground, but he went to Camas High.
Battleground, home of Barrel Mountain Brewing.
Yeah, so he was
That's all I know about Battleground.
Yeah, so he was from Battleground, and he went to Camas, and then some other good players that were from that region. We had Chris Miller was from Camas. He went to he played for Washington Premier, and then I think he trialed and then trained with the Sounders Academy. I think things just didn't work out. Some other players, I mean, there's some guys who are a year older and things like that. There was a guy
They joined Portland instead.
No, that they were a year older than me.
Not
so
a year younger.
Yeah, so
It's
just
a year younger.
A year younger than me.
That's the people who eventually went Portland, right?
Yeah. Those are the ones who went. So year older than me, I guess, or how would it work? You went the year.
No, older
than me. Yeah. So there was So there was one player I always really, really appreciated his game. His name was Sujinda Dangvan. He was a Thai player. He ended up going and playing professionally back in Thailand after he studied up and played at Western, and I think he did 4 years there, and then he went and played professionally in Thailand. He played I think 1 year in the second division there, and I think he played 2 or 3 years in the first division there. And he was a left winger. He was he had a lot of ability. He was super fast, could really hit a ball well with his left foot. He had a lot of dribbling skills though. He could do really quick step overs, could cut inside and play link up, and he'd get wide and really whip in good crosses. He was always a really good player, and he played in Oregon with his club team. He played with Eastside, and he played on the Eastside Liverpool team that won state, and played with
Gavin.
Yeah,
Wilkinson was the coach.
Gavin did I don't know if he coached a team when they won nationals. I don't know if he was on the coach of that team at that time, but he was really, really involved with that team because there were a lot of really good players. Stevie Evans. Now he was from Portland. No, but Sujinda was from. He went to school at Mountain View, so he lived on the east side of Vancouver. Mikhail DeHolis, he was another guy we tried to have in the academy, but he came up for 2 training sessions and then left. I'm not really sure. I just don't think he really wanted to make the drive. I don't blame him for that. Not a lot of us did either.
I asked you about this because I just wanted to point something out. Here we are. We're talking basically 10 years ago.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
The very launch of the Sounders Academy, and there's this little, this pocket, like
It's like a suburb. At the time.
In many ways, you guys are from the suburbs of Vancouver. You're the suburbs of the suburbs, basically.
Yeah, the suburbs of the suburbs. Yeah.
There's a US U17 captain out there. There's yourself who went and played for Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
Nosak played all 4 years up at the UW, right?
I think he played 3 years. 2 or 3 years, yeah. And he played in the Timbers Academy, and
he played both academies.
Yeah, and he played with the reserves many times with the reserves for Portland.
Timbers reserves.
Yeah, the Timbers reserves. They really should have signed him then. There was a really, really bad. Portland made a lot of bad decisions with their. Yeah,
it's Portland.
Because the thing is that when I was playing, sorry to get off track, but when I was 14 or 15, Portland was really unfortunate too, because when I was 14 or 15, I remember going to the games, like the State Cup Championship games, down at what's it called, Tualatin Sports Complex.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to go and watch Eric Hurtado and Danny Mwanga just tearing up games. They would be in their State Cup finals, winning games 5-0, and it was really unfortunate, really, because if Portland had an academy at that time, they'd be able to sign Danny Mwanga and Eric Hurtado just straight out.
Instead, they were drafted.
Instead, Danny Mwanga went to Oregon State, got drafted first pick. Eric Hurtado went to Santa Clara. I think he went 2 or 3 years, or I don't remember exactly. And then he got drafted to Vancouver. He's been at Vancouver ever since. But, Eric Hurtado was one of the best youth players I had ever seen. And Danny Mwanga was another level, but just didn't really cut it at professional level. But it sucks because there's so many players that I saw in Oregon that were that level too. It's just I can't remember off the top of my head.
The one reason is because I just wanted to bring up that 10 years ago, Sounders are scouting talent down there.
Yeah.
And then 2, Portland had all this talent in the backyard and they just fucked it up.
Yeah, they really.
So those are one good for Seattle and.
Yeah.
Also another good for Seattle.
Exactly, yeah. In Portland, they kind of messed up with... They did make a signing. They signed Stevie Evans, and that was kind of controversial at the time because he wasn't with the academy. He was only with the U23s. And they just kind of claimed that he was with Eastside, and they didn't really handle Stevie Evans when he was there in Seattle, or there in Portland either. And it was unfortunate because he was a really, really, really good player too. But there were so many players. I just can't remember.
Lamar hates it when I ask him this question, so I'm going to ask you now. I asked him about the academy because it didn't exist when he was coming up,
right?
And so he had to be an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, he went the hardest route.
Yourself, you see, there's this new structure in place. They have 7 academy teams.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And a USL team now.
Mm-hmm.
And back then there were 2 academy teams.
Yeah. And they were just starting to do some pre-academy. Yeah. My second season, they were starting to do some other things before, so we were seeing a lot of younger kids coming in and playing.
I can't remember how old you are because
20, just turned 25.
Yeah. So think do you think about those changes? How much American soccer has changed in those years?
Yeah, I think it's really helpful. For me, I was doing some because I was playing Oregon ODP, and then I went to play Washington ODP, and then I was doing some after the Washington ODP, I was doing some Washington pre-Sounder stuff before they started to do the academy. And I just as I see all the academy teams now and stuff, I think it would be so good to be able to go in to the Sounders Academy at 11 and just be in the program and be in that structure all the way up, instead of having all these different coaches, different philosophies, different systems that I was with in Vancouver and playing in Oregon. I chose to play in Oregon, but having all these different philosophies and structures at 11, 12, 13, 14, and instead be in the same structure, the same philosophy, the same everything from that early age. I think it would just be so much more constructive and so much of a better opportunity. So I think that these kids and everybody are so much more. They should really value how good of a place they are in right now.
I mean, it's a pretty dramatic shift.
Yeah, it's really dramatic. It happened so quickly. I look at it now, I'm just like, damn, this is it's really impressive how they've done it. And I just hope that this is the way that will be really beneficial for the future, and that they can really stick with this system for a long time. Because
when did you decide to start trimming your beard?
I mean, I trimmed it before I came up, but I've been trimming it a lot lately. It's
because you didn't when you were in the academy.
no. When I was in the academy, I was super immature. I am immature
way
now.
Of, like intimidating
When
other
you were in the academy, you were super immature.
But I did. I didn't know what I was doing then.
You had a big beard.
I had a huge beard. If you look at the team photo from then, I had a huge beard. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was thinking.
You look
with
like
that.
you should be tending bars.
I know. And I was 17.
Gotta
then.
get my mixed cocktail drink.
Yeah, I wasn't even 18. Couldn't even smoke a cigarette. Couldn't go to the casino.
That's how I learned of Justice Solomon. I'm watching an academy game. I'm like, Coach, who's the kid with the full-grown beard?
I was like one of the youngest kids on the team. I think, I might have been the youngest guy on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I maybe just wanted to stick out, but not like with colorful shoes or with a big hairdo or something.
I'm going to hand you guys over to do some Puerto Vallarta talk because we're all rotating out for a little bit, and I need a moment.
Yeah, you guys want to talk about Puerto Vallarta?
We had to take care
Yeah, I seriously, I need an update on Taco Time.
Taco Time?
Still doing good? He's still out there?
Still doing good, yeah. Rafi,
Still got the chicken?
Yeah, I still got the chicken. Everything. I mean, I haven't been there in a while though, but no, the owners there are really good friends with my parents. So yeah, they talk a
That
lot.
seriously is one of my favorite memories of Puerto Vallarta.
That place is great.
And Tom
yeah.
would argue that I probably don't have many memories of Puerto Vallarta.
You have memories. They're just not the ones you should have.
Not the beautiful beach, the beaches, the
But
great beaches, the
We
mountains.
can get into Vallarta a minute,
Oh yeah, ask me
but,
anything. I'm an open book.
but maybe talking about Academy now.
Yeah.
I don't know how in tune you are with kind of the day-to-day on things.
No,
now,
not so
but
much. But I try to see some things, but I'm not so much in tune now.
Grown up pretty fast.
Mhm. Yeah, I see-
with Garth here.
Yeah, I want to say something. Like for me, the most impressive thing that I always see is how many of the U.S. youth national team call-ups there are. You know, for us, there weren't. I don't even remember anybody like getting called in and going to camps and stuff. But I see so many now, and I think that's like the craziest, best thing ever to see so many guys going into U16 camps, U18 camps, U17 camps. That's like for me, that's like always the goal. It's always to have guys in there to be, because that's the highest level, or like where guys want to be. Guys always want to be showing for their country. Guys always want to be in those camps. That's for everybody at those ages. That was like our big thing. We wanted to go to those U.S. national team camps.
Yeah.
So that's something I just want to say real
It's
quick.
interesting to see, and I grew up on the East Coast and saw a little bit of some of that stuff, and had some friends in, kind of junior high and high school who, you get a look here and there, this and that, and it was never anything to the extent of what I think I see here in Seattle. And then having spent a fair amount of time in Puerto Vallarta, it's interesting to me. Like you go up north of town, up towards like Bucerias and Sayulita and whatnot, and there's a couple of different spots where it's like an atlas camp, and you're just in the middle of nowhere.
Seriously,
and then you start to see like how the rest of the world does it. Frankly, like the USA just has not gotten to that point.
It's just different,
and that's where I've seen people go, oh, the USA has this funding and all these other things, and there's no reason they can't grow kids up into the system and do all these amazing things. And I'm like, we don't do anything compared to a literal third world country. Has figured it out. And that's not to say Mexico or any of these other countries are winning World Cups year over year, but from a youth system, like a true, genuine youth system where it's not all about money and all about selling kids on and all that other stuff, we're just not there.
Right.
But it's interesting to be able to see the highs and lows of it, and I think for us now, seeing Sounders, who I do believe are genuinely invested in it, for a long time,
I would say so.
have taken a different approach in the last 3, 4, 5 years that hopefully will turn out to help the team.
I agree. Yeah, I just from like even an outside perspective, I can just from everything that I see the younger teams and everybody going to international tournaments and things. Just even that's a big cost.
Yeah.
And to be able to pay to go in to get into the tournaments and to pay for all the transportation and everything like that. Those are big costs, and but the benefits that you'll get out of those in the long term, for even if you get one kid who really, it just makes a huge gap, like a big just step in his development, and like going to Japan and playing against those other guys. And he says, and he has that confidence within him, and he says, hey, I got to play against the best youth team at my level in Japan, and the best one in Spain, and the best one from Argentina, and I'm better than all these kids here that I got to play against. It's like I can be the best in the world.
Yeah.
And so he goes back to training, and he goes home to Seattle, and he just has that confidence, and he just goes to training and dominates every day. I mean, you never know where that kid can end up now. That kid can go and be playing in England in 10 years, in 8 years. You just it's just little things like that. It can just really, really, it's so hard to explain, but it can just take you to somebody to, and sometimes it just takes one.
Yeah.
And you never know.
Do you think that like focusing on that as a club, so when you think about academy systems for the MLS clubs in this country,
right,
to carve it out as an example, do you think that is long term more valuable than just kind of going all in on something like an S2 and just really trying to be competitive and just grab the best players you can and be competitive at an S1 or a Sounders Pro and then the next level down? Or do you think just building up that system of 13s and up is the better play? Like, as if you're Sounders right now, what do you think makes more sense?
So you mean like in terms of like scouting around for S2 and maybe trying to get some like younger talent there and then building them up through there?
Yeah, like does it matter if S2 isn't, or the future S2, whatever it's called, isn't quote good when it comes to like the ranking sheet at the end of any season?
For me,
They aren't, quote, winning games.
Right. Does it matter? Really?
They aren't, quote, points.
boy,
No, but really, do they need that?
I think-
Or should it just be like a great high-level training ground for people?
I think it does matter because nobody wants. I mean, whether you're 16 or 25 or 30, you don't want to finish your game and see that you lost. And you don't want to finish the end of the season and see your team at the bottom of the table. Whether you're 16, if you're a professional at 16 or you're 18 or at any age. So I think it is important in terms of like the development and trying to get the long-term development for some of the players to really do get points and do well. I mean, you don't have to be winning championships or anything like that,
Right.
but obviously you don't want to be the bottom, or you don't want to be at that lower bottom and things like that.
Can I add some notes real quick? Because
Yeah.
the dudes that are playing down from the first team, they clearly understand winning. Like, the first team is winning a lot. But even like the guys playing up, they're winning titles at the academy level.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing with S2 right now because they've had a couple years where they're not winning,
Right.
and yet those players, when they're playing with their normal group,
They're winning.
are winning.
Yeah.
Right. So the
It can be like a weird mind thing.
yeah,
it can really mess you
as
up
somebody who
sometimes.
used to be a very big Mariners fan, I understand the culture of losing. They did a great job of establishing that over a 15-year. They used to have like
17.
single A teams were loser. Like every single level was losing, and S2 isn't there because the players, at least
They're
the
winning somewhere
U19s, the
else,
U17s, they're winning. The U17s are dominating. The first team guys, they understand. So it's a little bit different than the Seattle sports fan that should panic because we don't want another Mariners situation to happen where the lower levels are just
Right.
trash for 15 years and we don't get any prospects that do anything for us. Sorry. Little
No. That's yeah.
stupid Mariners.
Yeah, for me, like as a fan's point of view, if you see the team, if the team's losing, or is at the bottom, I don't think it's like I don't think it should be a big issue. I think the most important is to just see the players are going out and doing well. But if just from like a development standpoint, is just to see or just to make sure that the players are understanding that like
You want something?
No, I'm okay. They're making sure that it's okay. Like it's okay. It's
Well, I'm not saying like we're all beaten down by losing or whatever, but I would say like I think when I looked at S2 as someone who appreciates minor league baseball specifically, I don't think I expected them to be world beaters all the time.
No,
but
yeah.
I do feel like I expected there to be maybe a little more focus on winning
right.
than development. And I'm super okay with development because frankly, if it makes Sounders as a whole better, long term, great. But I do feel now they've almost been a victim of their own. Like, we're not going to tell you what our plan is, but we're gonna have one.
How much?
It's interesting.
Yeah. For me, and like too, it's also important. I don't like I'm kind of out of the loop a little bit, but like I don't know how many of those like those really young guys, or I don't know how many of like those top academy guys are training with the first team or things like that. But for me, like it's really important to not only have those guys with the S2 guys that are like those on those contracts, but to have like those with like the Israel guys like that, train them have those guys training with the first team like in chances like that.
They frequently pop up in the first team practices.
Yeah,
the academy does. This is something that I haven't told on the air because I'm an idiot and don't work it into the conversations over there on the S2 broadcast. But Clint Dempsey, remember he was suspended earlier this. Was it suspended or did not travel?
Retire.
No, before that, early
He
in the
didn't
year,
travel.
He didn't travel, and so he spent those days that he would normally be practicing with the first team while they were New England, I think it was,
Or New York.
one of those two. Yeah, it was one of the East Coast trips, and what he did instead was practice with S2.
S2.
And Roman Torres
Aaron
has
says
practiced
howdy.
with S2. Knew he practiced with S2, but that's not that's not a World Cup captain. That's not Captain America. Like, they get interaction, not just like it's not just they go up with the first team. And this is frequently what happens, where they go up to the first team and then it's broken out by skill, and they're essentially just practicing in a separate pod than the first team starters, the first team reserves, and then the invitees. But there are times when they get they were getting full interaction with Clint Dempsey, full interaction with Ron Torres.
That's so. I think that's so important for a 16, a 17, a 18-year-old. I think that's like, I think it's so crucial, so crucial. Yeah.
It tells them a little bit more. It's not just about practice too. It's about
interactions and everything.
Yeah. That just the tiny little things to get ready for a game or
exactly everything. Yeah, because they'll just soak it up like a sponge, because they know what it's like now to play in those S2 games and everything like that. But with those players and everything, but now they to have them around those guys who are at the top, at the next level, they can see and it can brush off on them how they can be at that level and how it is to be at that level and how it is to do it. And I think it's just, I wish I was around it more when we were there. And they had, we would always have guys, they would say, okay, who's getting called up to the reserves and everything when I was there. And I think it would have been really good for a lot of our players and for a lot of us if we were called into the first team and training and things like that. More often.
What are y'all talking about?
I'm just waiting to see what drama Mark is going to uncover on his phone right now.
Oh, God.
So we're a little hot. We're running a little past 9.
Really?
I know you've been here before, and there have been questions at some point.
Yeah, we're not
thrown your
asking
way.
him questions.
But we have a couple questions that are
you can
new.
ask me anything.
Some new questions. Has your home or office ever been raided by the FBI?
Not once.
But twice.
Not once.
Considering he lives out of the country, it'd have to be the CIA.
No, I don't think the FBI. Do they? I mean, can they go into Mexico and do that, or what?
I mean, they
potentially. Is this
What was that movie?
Can I get some advice on this? And
What was the movie?
What do you know?
Shit, what was that movie, Dave?
Nice. My home and office have not been. I have
No FBI raids.
No FBI raids.
Okay.
And let's hope not for the future.
Good. That's actually a good life choice, probably on your part. Which historical figure that you admire would you want to go in a bouncy house with?
Bouncy house. So, I mean, you can't really talk much in a bouncy house, but in a bouncy house,
That's the point.
historical figure.
You're just spending time with this person.
It's just kind of interacting in a
Yeah.
bouncy house. Bouncy house. I don't know. Da Vinci.
That might be a new answer.
I think that's a first time go.
Yeah.
Most people say Abraham Lincoln.
Really, it's Lincoln. It's kind of a
Because he popped the house.
because it just popped right on.
The sharp elbows.
Somebody with cool hair would be like somebody with elegant hair would be a good one.
Good call.
Or a good beard, it just like kind of floating around.
When the movie about Justin Solomon's life is made, who plays the role of Justin Solomon?
Who plays Justin Solomon? I don't know. Russell Crowe, Tom Hardy, somebody who can grow a good beard. That's good looking.
Those are good answers.
That's just right off the top
Mark,
of my
do you have
head.
any questions?
When will the Sounders qualify for Champions League again so that we can find a way to come to Mexico and visit for a few days?
Well, they'll win the cup this year, so
Got it.
that'll.
I like
so
it.
this year.
So this year, yeah.
Perfect, because I could use a trip to PV.
PV, yeah, they'll go up against Chivas, and then that'll work it all out.
I could use some taco time. I could use
Good. Fresh.
A liter of Cuervo Gold.
a liter of Cuervo Gold and a Cookie Monster cake.
Smashed on your stomach.
Oh man!
Shout out to Brendan Vaughn,
Brendan.
by the way.
Bless Brendan Vaughn.
By the way, I jumped
God
off a
bless
cliff in that Speedo and almost drowned trying to hold
Where
on
did you
to
jump
my
off a cliff?
shorts. The Yakima River.
Oh my god!
So
Don't do that.
No,
Next
I don't recommend jumping off cliffs.
So next week we will not be here at the Berliner
There's a soccer game.
because the Sounders are playing Monday night.
Who's looking forward to getting home at 11:30? Fuck you, Beyonce.
Who starts a new job the day next after it?
Even better.
So I don't know what's going to happen next Monday. We've threatened to try and do something. Don't know if it's going to happen.
Hey, there's a really cool pregame thing though. Monday, they're not a sponsor of the show, but you should support them that day.
Which one?
Fuel pregame. One Jordan Morris is pouring drinks.
Oh, gonna get all me money.
5
Is he
to
old enough to go into a bar?
5 to 7.
Yeah, 5
Fuel.
to 7 at Fuel.
Jordan Morris.
So,
I think Jordan's gonna miss the march.
well, yes, that's true.
Yeah. Probably.
It's probably gonna be raining like this, so there'll be like 7
But if you
people
like
in the march.
Budweiser
He'd
products,
probably slip on the horse
Jordan
shit.
Morris has got you covered.
He'd probably slip on the horse shit that Seattle PD doesn't scoop up after their horses.
Wow. I was like, which random sidebar are we going to have? That one. So, Monday, 7:30, Sounders, Houston. Mickey Turner, check in, please. That's, by the way, the first day of the quote international break.
Not this day before the international break.
I think it starts the 8th, ends the 16th.
You might be right.
Anyway, Mr. Turner.
Prediction. So obviously it depends somewhat on who we'll have available. Obviously those discussions are ongoing. Hopefully we'll get an update at practice tomorrow. I'll be stopping by, so I'm sure we'll be asking about it. I saw that.
That was the.
I will assume that we'll have at least one of Rui Diaz, Nico, or Svensson for the game. One of them will stay.
Okay.
And I think they'll be able to get the win. It'll probably be pretty close. I'm going to say 2-1.
I'm going to text Steph and tell him that you are making him let up a goal next week. David.
Owen goal.
Oh, I don't want to own goal against Sounders. Let's not do that.
Oy.
David.
2-0.
Tino who?
Martinez.
I
There's
mean,
only
duh.
one Tino.
Like, is this even a question? Constantino Martinez.
Thank you.
Yeah.
2-0.
Justin.
Are you
Prediction.
a Mets fan?
I'm definitely not a Mets fan.
Fuck you. All the way to Weehawken.
2-2.
What
2-2?
2-2?
I turned off his mic.
Yes, Donald. Yeah, we're sending him back to Mexico now. It's all right.
Oh my god. That's the most all-in fucked up thing you possibly could have said.
My girlfriend is
Except nominating him to the Supreme Court. That would have been worse. 2-2.
Did she come?
Yeah, no, she's in the hotel.
I don't
And you're here talking to us?
Yeah. Yeah, she said, go with your friend.
2-2, Mark.
We're friends.
I can't even. I can't even.
That's the best part.
Mark. Prediction.
3-0.
3-0.
Adam.
I will agree.
I like that one.
No, you called draws for everyone for the rest of the season. And 12 points.
Except for us.
You know who he reminds me of now?
Adam.
3-0.
Show.
The Unabomber.
Also, I was gonna go with a character in a TV show. What was the hotel clerk in Deadwood?
I have to go. I'm out.
All right, we are.
So we're done.
This is
assistant.
this
I
is
brought you an
SonarFeed,
antler.
episode 258. We like beer. We still like beer.
I like beer.
It's been presented by the Berliner Pub, just off of 3rd and Main, downtown Renton.
Ahead of the curve.
Wait, Adam. Where is the Berliner?
It's a drinking game.
We're out.